the capacity in stage 4. So I think Mike and I, we discussed this earlier. We just wanted to sort of field calls, specifically like the questions you asked earlier, town supervisor, specifically how it impacts your town, your facilities, and how it impacts businesses specifically. So I see other people are joining. I see Carol, Katie, Mike. Ken Blast joined us. Hey, Ken, good to see you. I see other people are joining. I see Carol, Katie, Mike. Ken Blast joined us. Hey, Ken, good to see you. I see other people are joining. I see Carol, Katie, Mike.
Sorry about that. I was not able to.
Ken Blast joined us. Hey, Ken, good to see you. I see other people are joining. I see Carol, Katie.
Sorry about that. I was not able to.
Jeff and Mike, I'm hearing a little bit of echo. I don't know if anybody else is having the same issue.
Sorry about that. I was not able to.
Else is having the same issue.
So again, everyone, I'm sorry, I guess we're having a little reverb or background noise. If you could just be reminded to mute your mics. Oops, Mike had a little technical difficulty. But specifically, we're in phase 4, and we want to answer questions specifically about, we have no new additional guidelines about phase 4 opening in terms of capacity for restaurants or media production, low risk indoor and outdoor arts and entertainment. But I know, like, for example, a town supervisor asked specifically about basketball courts, and we will follow up with an answer to her question related to that. I'm surprised that you did see some, supervisor, I'm surprised you did see some basketball courts from the city open, since they're just in today they went to phase 3. So maybe that's some rogue activity. But I wanted to open the floor up for anyone who has any specific questions about phase 4 or want to enlighten us on anything they've learned in this process of reopening that might be a benefit to the group as a whole. Not everyone at once.
And just to clarify, Jeff, the resident who sent me some pictures of New York City basketball courts, I did ask for clarification. I said, you know, a private organization that has a basketball court, although they're not maybe legally allowed to reopen, could certainly make that choice. We as a municipality, obviously as part of the government, need to follow each and every guideline. And so I was wondering if some of the basketball courts and or playgrounds that they were referring to were maybe privately owned community courts as opposed to, you know, city or town courts. But they did actually send me a link to a couple playgrounds up near Albany, which would, I think, fall in our region, that were showing as municipal playgrounds that were open. So it would be, I'd be curious to hear what the official guidelines are on that.
Thanks for that clarification. Yeah, the one in Albany would be in our region. I'll get you an official answer, but I'm just uncertain how you social distance from basketball. That's almost next to impossible. Basketball, football, soccer, maybe you can social. I don't know how you do it with basketball and football.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because basketball was listed as a high risk for transmission in a recently released guideline on recreational activities. Limited basketball activities, mainly individual practice and drills, were listed as acceptable. However, those activities aren't consistent with the typical use of a basketball court. And this is in Buffalo. The city remains committed to opening recreational activities as they are able to be done safely. However, given that basketball is listed as a high risk, the city will be maintaining basketball courts closed until such time as they are determined to be safe for open. So I guess what they're saying was, if you wanted to go and one person go and shoot baskets or shoot foul shots or do it on, but not where they could play basketball. Seems to be what's listed here. And this was a June 22nd report from the Buffalo region.
And the article that this resident sent me is from the New York Times, and it says the city's on New York City. The city's on track to enter the third part of the state's 4-phase reopening on July 6th. The phase allows for indoor dining, blah, blah, blah. And then it says outdoor recreational spaces, including basketball courts, tennis courts, and dog runs, will also reopen. The city's public beaches will open for swimming this coming Wednesday. So according to the New York Times, it says the city's going to be reopening their basketball courts. But again,
they're also reporting that on Fox. Basketball courts, soccer fields, volleyball courts, and tennis courts. But I guess the question is, once you open them, I don't see how you restrict them from not playing those games there.
Yeah, well, and somebody was talking about, reopening the playgrounds, but that you had to limit how many people were allowed on the playground and they had to stay 6 feet apart. So in my estimation, that would mean a full-time town employee out monitoring the basketball courts and playgrounds and sanitizing in between. And we just don't have the staffing for that.
Right. Well, what we can do is we can try to get some additional information through Mike Yevely and Chairman Morrell from the control room call. They have cut those back, so they're not every day anymore, but it says here, starting July 6th, you can resume most outdoor sports with individual or distant group training, as well as organized low or no contact group sports camps or clinics. For example, cross-country running, golf, single tennis are considered low-risk sports because they maintain physical distance as compared to higher-risk sports such as football or basketball, which has less physical distance between players by design. So it's really strange because it's, they say moderate risk sports include baseball, softball, double tennis, badminton, gymnastics, field hockey, swimming races, team crew, rafting, paintball, soccer, and non-contact lacrosse. They're still saying that indoor athletic activities are prohibited, and high-risk football, wrestling, ice hockey, rugby, basketball, lacrosse, volleyball, competitive dance, and cheerleading. unbelievable how you are expected to maybe it's a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. When you put the basketball on the court, you're not going to stop people from playing basketball. Supervisor, I'm sure you saw the State Liquor Authority's suspension.
I did, yeah.
It was unfortunate, but we all tried to help prevent that. But
yeah, I know. I had spoken directly to the owner multiple times about, you know, the possible outcomes of him not following the guidelines, and it is unfortunate. But I think that he definitely knew that it was a very real possibility if he continued forward.
Right. I mean, the one thing that will be interesting, although it'll be expensive and time consuming, is, you know, there was the federal judge ruled in Albany that those restrictions were not legal, but, you know, that case hasn't been decided, and to have to be litigate that to get back into the game is not a fun place to be.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things that we've been looking at is, and as these calls dwindle and people get focused on actually reopening, we get a lot of one-off questions, which we're happy to continue to answer. We do think it's important to encourage everyone, and we did this in our e-news this morning, to sign up and register. The list that Jeff and I are seeing from the state of those businesses in the county who have registered is not yet reflective of the number of businesses in the county by a long shot. So we're continuing to assist and encourage people to comply with that requirement. We're also looking down the road a little bit as to what we can do, both at the Chamber and CEDC, and to provide business consulting and assistance to for the technical aspects of running a business as people come back into the environment of day-to-day operations. We saw where in Ulster County, the county spent about $50,000 and retained a company to come in and provide programming for small businesses. I don't know that we're in that position as a county or organizations, but I do think where we really need to focus now is not only in assisting businesses to look at the disaster loan program with the SBA, the CEDC loan programs, and some of the training programs and technical assistance that we provide through the SBA and that the Chamber provides as part of its membership organization format. So I think right now, our focus is how can we move in a direction of not supporting people and finding out what the rules are, but going back to supporting businesses as both organizations have done for many years in helping businesses grow and thrive and get back into the game here.
And yes, on that note too, we are continuing to promote those businesses who are open, no matter where they are in phases in the capacity, through our Shop Local campaign. We currently have radio ads up, and we do still have about 25 yard signs. If anyone's interested, please contact us at mail@columbiachamber-ny.com. That's a partnership between the Chamber, CEDC, and County Tourism. We're still trying to make sure that we get sales tax captured in our county as we begin to reopen. I know people are traveling inter counties now. Met some folks from Saratoga this weekend. They were social distancing and wearing a mask, but we are seeing an uptick from people from the Berkshires and other parts of our tri-state area who are visiting our area. And so we continue to monitor that as well.
Hey, Mike and Jeff, I did have a question. If I have a business owner here in town who has specific questions regarding eligibility for any of the grants or loans that are available, would I direct her to that info email or directly to you guys?
Either way, we monitor that every day, and probably the best way would be right to info.
Okay.
But if it's someone that you've come across who's having specific issues and needs a little bit of additional TLC, I'm sure Jeff or I could contact us directly.
Okay, and it's info@columbiacomeback.com?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Do you know off the top of your head if it matters? Her business is in New Lebanon, but she lives in Stephentown, which is Rensselaer County. It's about where her business is located, right?
Right, but we don't see those lines as we're in a region. We're happy to I don't know if we'd know enough to help someone in Pittsfield, but anybody in upstate we can handle.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll have her email you today.
Great. Katie, could you give a quick update on the Hudson Tourism project and the bond, Hudson Business Coalition's bonds?
Yep. There's a little bit of landscaping going on behind me, so hopefully everyone can hear me. So at this point, we have had a chance for the Hudson Tourism Board to review the initial batch of proposals submitted for Project Hudson. The Tourism Board met last week and made their initial recommendation for projects to be funded to the Common Council. We are now on our second batch. The Tourism Board is going to be meeting in a special meeting this evening to review applications that have come in from June 26th through yesterday. And those projects that are recommended for funding will be submitted to the Common Council in an informal July 13th meeting. The plan is to continue having the program open and reviewing applications as funding is available. And so, I think that following this batch, it'll remain to be determined if we continue for additional cycles. These programs are all to support tourism in City of Hudson, as well as economic impact in City of Hudson. Businesses are eligible if they're a business or organization located in Hudson and their project takes place in Hudson. This program has very strict location-based guidelines and criteria because it is funded from the City of Hudson. CEDC, we are playing a fiscal sponsor and administrative support role, but all decisions are made by the Tourism Board and approved by the Common Council. Any questions about this program that I can answer at this time? And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but these meetings, the tourism and the Common Council meetings are open to the public. So the process, very transparent, and you're able to kind of understand that process by participating. We will, as we have with other programs, work with them to make sure that there is a summary of the project and information is available of which programs are moving forward. And I think that's all on our side, just for the Project Hudson. For Hudson Bonds, we have actually started to get initial information from businesses who are looking to redeem bonds. For this program, there's a number of participating businesses organized by the Hudson Business Coalition that are accepting Hudson bonds. So that means as a customer, I can buy a bond for $50. Half of that goes towards a future grant program to support businesses in Hudson. The other half I can use at a participating business of my choice. The program at this date, I believe, has about $30,000 that it has raised for this program, which is great. And it will continue on as bonds are available and we're able to support the program. All of that information is on the Hudson Business Coalition's website. It's also in the CEDC newsletter that went out this morning, as is more information on Project Hudson. You know, we're doing our best to socialize and raise awareness for these programs, especially as, you know, I think that these are just ways that we can continue supporting our business community. One other update I have is just that the Chatham Business Continuity Grant, this was an offshoot of the Columbia County Business Continuity Grant. That deadline has been expanded, and they will continue to review applications from businesses based in the village of Chatham on a rolling basis and as funds are available. They've made one update to the program, is that 501c3 nonprofits are also eligible to apply at this time. So that is a slight expansion of the program, which we're happy to see. So if there's any of this information I can share or make available, don't hesitate to reach out to CEDC. You know, the more businesses participating, the better for all of these programs. Anything else, Mike, or from the group here?
Just for me, I wanted to remind people that the PPP program has been extended for another 5 weeks. So if you haven't applied and you have a need or interest, please do so within the next 5 weeks or so. And just a reminder again from Mike, if you know a business who is open and you have the kind of relationship, just to remind them that all businesses are required to affirm that they are reopened, and they are also required to keep a safety plan in their offices or in their place of business in case an inspector comes by.
Any word on what the next step is with Summer Streets, Jeff, in Hudson?
It was packed this week. I think I don't see anyone on there who's directly behind it. I will have more information probably tomorrow. I have a meeting with the mayor, but it sounds like it was going pretty well. Wasn't able to attend this weekend, but I've heard a lot of that it's been a roaring success, and this time the rain didn't stop people from participating.
Great. Does anyone else have anything they would like to ask? Anything they'd like to suggest we do going forward, or anything else we can assist with today?
Hey, Mike. I apologize if this information has already gone out. It's really hard to follow everything. Is there currently grant programs available for businesses, such as businesses in New Lebanon, like that first batch where it's not a loan, but it's an actual grant? Has anything like that reopened?
No, unfortunately not. We are looking at the possibility of doing a fundraising letter to second homeowners to see if we can raise additional funding to see if we can extend that program in a meaningful way. We did raise approximately $200,000 in partnership with the Berkshire Taconic Foundation and made over 100 grants. But unfortunately, with all of the other charities out there trying to raise money, and it's getting difficult. We do still have our rapid recovery loan program at CEDC, where if you've been in business for 2 years or more, you have a credit score, the owner has a credit score of 625 or greater, and under $1 million in revenue and under 20 employees, you can get a $15,000 5-year loan at 3.75%, which is about $270 a month payment for 5 years. In the first 6 months, there's no payment. So if you're a business that has the sustainable ability to survive and get through this, it's a great option. If it's a business that was teetering to begin with or teetering as a result of the unique circumstances related to the type of operation they're running, not so much. But we will keep you posted, Supervisor, if additional programs like this, where there are actual grants come back to become available.
Mike, question for you. Have you thought about, given the amount of, I guess, uncertainty and misinformation about getting approval for a loan or the PPP forgiveness program, potentially having one of these calls being a banker and a CPA firm and whatever to address that information?
Yeah. Hey,
The chamber did that. The chamber did that with UHY. I'm sure they'd do it again.
yeah, I was
Okay.
just going to suggest, Ken, I just wrote a note to myself for Amy I'm going to reach back out to Mike Bucci and Matt Vanderbeck to do another round of the PPP program, just so people are get more familiar with the requirements of that program, and that they begin to start tracking how they expend those funds. Because when you go outside of payroll and other necessary business expenses, those dollars will be, though outside of those particular areas, those dollars have to be repaid. But if you stick to things like rent or mortgage or payroll, keeping your staffing levels, those loans are able to be forgiven. So we're going to do another round of that. Also have a note to Amy to reach out to you, Ken, to see if you'll do another reimagining session as well.
Sure. Yeah, interesting. I never got any calls from anybody with any further questions after that last session.
And I will check with her. Did we see any follow-ups? But I know at that particular time, people were still trying to get their arms wrapped around the phase openings. But I do know now that even I've heard from small business owners who are saying, well, we can make our margins right now, but we do need to start thinking about how we position ourselves once the economy and the phases are all open and we're back up and going again permanently with full capacity. So I'll check with her and we'll share whatever data we have with you, Ken, so we can do that. And if there's any other suggestions for necessary Zoom webinars about a particular business issue, please feel free to contact us at mail@columbiachamber-ny.com, and we'll tailor a Zoom meeting for your business needs.
Anything else, or shall we adjourn to what's hopefully sunny weather in Columbia County?
It is sunny here.
Great. Well, I thank you all very much, and hope you all have a great day. And Jeff, we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Supervisor.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff. And if
Thank
you
you,
don't,
everyone.
shooting me that email when you have some clear definition on both basketball and playgrounds.
Will do.
Thanks.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.